Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on this very historic day. We're here today to celebrate the first concrete pour for the permanent foundation and the rail levels for the new Transbay Transit Center. If you can all remember, about 3 years ago, we were here after completing the temporary terminal for the groundbreak of the new station. And as you look around you here today, you can see that we've come a long way since August of 2010. Since that time, we demolished the old terminal. We recycled nearly 100% of the materials used to build it. We built a shoring wall on the perimeter of the new station. We excavated down to 65 feet below street level. We installed temporary traffic bridges to keep the traffic moving and a vast internal bracing system. We relocated all utilities. We installed a geothermal piping system that's going to help cool the facility using the Earth's natural temperature. We installed waterproofing. We put in 1,800 drilled micropiles and reinforced steel. So far, we've completed about 80% of the excavation of the transit center, in the process removing about 600,000 cubic yards of mud and clay. And in fact, today, as a token of our appreciation to our speakers, we're going to be giving them samples of the Old Bay clay deposited from the last ice age, which we recovered. That was about 100,000 years ago. So we'll be giving this to our speakers. They were collected in 2013 and from about 100 feet below the station. Today's concrete pour for the foundation of the transit center is particularly exciting because the foundation is going to be the first permanent structure of this project. For the entire rail levels in total, we're going to be pouring 142,000 cubic yards of concrete, which is the equivalent of 30 Olympic-sized swimming pools. We couldn't have achieved this milestone and maintained our construction schedule without the dedication of so many people here today. The men and women who work on our site daily, the people who manage the construction, our funders, our fellow government agencies, and of course the public. Reaching this point, of course, in the project would not have been possible without the federal funds from the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. Funds which have put thousands of people to work in construction right here in San Francisco. 2,400 people to date have worked on our project thanks to the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act funding, which we received $400 million from. This funding was the result and was secured as a result of the hard work and dedication of our congressional delegation, all led by House Democratic Leader Nancy Pelosi. Leader Pelosi is a national treasure, and we're so honored to have her here today. I can't tell you how appreciative we are, Leader Pelosi. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce our leader and welcome back a woman whom I have the greatest admiration for, House Democratic Leader Pelosi.
Thank you very much, Maria, for your kind words of introduction, for your exceptional leadership. When we gathered here 3 years ago, we sang your praises as a just unsurpassed operational person to get the job done, and here we are. It's an honor to be with you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for your leadership, not only on this project, but everything that surrounds it. Supervisor Kim, thank you for your leadership as the Transbay Joint Powers Authority Chair, as well as a member of our Board of Supervisors. Michael Theriault from the Building and Construction Trades Council. Of course, none of this would be possible without the building trades. Your leadership has been essential to our success. Thank you for that. And as I acknowledge leaders who are here, Steve Heminger, I saw, I know that Willie Brown and Gavin Newsom will take pride, hi Steve, in what is going on here. Our mayor, Mayor Lee, has been sort of a catalyst to bring so much together, whether it's about enabling this to go forward, whether it's about tax policy, enabling other construction and attracting other businesses here. His name, Ed Lee, Mayor Ed Lee, is synonymous with jobs, jobs, jobs in San Francisco. Thank you for your leadership, Mayor Lee. And as I acknowledge the dignitaries who are here, I want to pay tribute to President Barack Obama and his as Transportation Secretary at the time, Ray LaHood. President Obama was insistent that we pass the Recovery Act, of which San Francisco has been a major beneficiary, not just with this project, many other projects in the city. I hope that he can visit soon so he can see the fruit of the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. When we arrived, Maria was telling us that one of the, there was evidence when the construction began of ships arriving in San Francisco at the time of the gold rush. And at that time, people came here, rushed here with their hopes, their aspirations, and their dreams to make a better life. That tradition is continued today as we go forward with this project. It is in the tradition of San Francisco to be about what is new, to be about innovation, to be about commerce, to be about jobs for families in our city. In that regard, as the cement is poured today, tradition of leadership continues. As we pour the concrete, I guess it's concrete, I'm saying cement, into the first permanent part of the new Transbay Center, God, we are literally laying the foundation for the future of transit-oriented development in the Bay Area. By our actions today, we are setting the cornerstone for the new Grand Central Station of the West. We are staying on track to connect cities and communities throughout the region and across the state. Scott Boulay, I notice, is here as well. Thank you, Scott, for your leadership. We are opening the doors to public transit options, reducing congestion on our roads, and cutting carbon emissions. Very important. And on every pour of concrete on this site, we are moving one step closer to solidifying the Transbay Transit Center as a center for jobs and housing, retail and recreations, a crossroad of commerce. All of the things John Burton said it would be, right, Maria? Let's applaud John Burton for his leadership on this subject. I mentioned that it would be the Grand Central Station of the West, and why? This center will be a place where riders can board high-speed rail trains as part of the development of California's high-speed rail system. It will bring capital, commuters, and consumers to our city through a system that is better, faster, and cheaper. And once the Transbay Transit Center is complete, it will bring 11 transit systems together under one roof, meaning more convenience for commuters, more efficiency for workers, and more growth for our city. Today, our action serves as a marker for the entire city. Leaders in public service, in labor, and in business are united behind the success of the Transbay Center. That's why I'm so proud that the Recovery Act had over $400 million for the Transbay Center in it, for this project alone. That doesn't count Central Subway, the Presidio, all of the other transportation issues. As I always say to the workers who make all of this possible, as we thank you, our hopes are riding on you because you make all of this possible. So let us again salute the men and women in hard hats who make this all possible for us. Standing together, these leaders are keeping San Francisco at the forefront of good jobs, Davis-Bacon, prevailing wage, good paying jobs, a growing economy, and a thriving middle class, keeping families in San Francisco. Working together, the men and women pouring concrete today and the laborers continuing the work in weeks ahead and months to come will keep this city on the cutting edge of progress. Thank you all, each one of you who is here, for your leadership. Thank you to our workers for this partnership, for this commitment to the Transbay Transit Center. I can't wait to tell the president about this exciting occasion and for him to visit to see for himself how working together we are advancing the aspirations of the people of San Francisco, the entire Bay Area. And I thank all of you, starting with the mayor, for your role in this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Leader Pelosi, for all you have done for this project and for all that you do for our country. I should add that in 1998, many, many years ago, when this project was just but a dream, the first seed money we received was from Leader Pelosi. Leader Pelosi back then believed in the project, had the vision, and saw the project when really no one else did. And thanks to that initial seed money of $10 million, we are where we are today. So thank you so much, Leader. Our next speaker deserves tremendous praise for all that he has accomplished for our project as well as for San Francisco. Fresh from his return from inspecting our city's vital water and power infrastructure in the Sierra Nevada mountains after the impact of the wildfire, Mayor Lee knows a lot about infrastructure. He has been essential and continues to be vital to the Transbay project. He's been a supporter since its inception when he was with the Department of Public Works and then as city administrator. He has believed in the project from the beginning, and for that, Mr. Mayor, I'm very grateful. We would not be here today without your support as well. Under Mayor Lee and due to his leadership, San Francisco adopted the Transit Center District Plan, which rezones the Transbay area to promote transit-oriented development. It will also provide crucial financing for the Transbay project and other infrastructure to realize our mission to make the Transbay community a national model for sustainable development. And with that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our mayor, Mayor Lee.
Thank you, Maria, and let me also repeat what Leader Pelosi has already done, and well so, that your leadership from day one, when Mayor Brown had made you the center of getting this done, I like to say I want that reputation of getting things done, but you've got that reputation from this project on forward, so thank you very much for your leadership. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here today. It's another important milestone in our Transbay Center for our city. And yes, earlier this week, I joined Steve Heminger at the eastern span of the Bay Bridge, infrastructure of our transportation, and then going to infrastructure up there at Moccasin and making sure that our water and power infrastructures were safe. But it comes back to what Leader Pelosi has said time and time again, as she voiced the needs of this city and this region. Transportation infrastructure, if built well, will also attract workers, housing, and make our cities great. That's why Ann Halstead and Ann and all the others at MTC that are working closely with us, we know this to be very true, and that's why we spend a lot of time figuring things out on the planning side. And I want to also say thank you to John Ram at the Planning Commission as well, because with your leadership, along with Maria's and TJPA and Supervisor Kim and others, not only did we use the ARA monies as opportunities to begin this and get workers back on track of getting good jobs, but we also figured it out for the 5 other buildings in and around this area with tax increment financing, so that our general fund would not be burdened with additional taxes for the streets. In fact, we're standing on trestles right now that are built as part of this temporarily. You just came across a bridge that was built in order to get this project going, in order to have the machinery to stand next to the construction site. And as Maria said very clearly, we've got the water penetration controls, because this is right at the edge of the water, historic water that we have. So we had to do all these things to plan well. I want to say thank you to President Obama, Leader Pelosi, the entire federal delegation, because they've been very sensitive to our vision, and they've in fact embraced the vision, and we become models for the rest of the country to use infrastructure, create those immediate jobs, recover from the economy, and then attract private investments to do the same. That's the way cities have to work these days. They must work this way. This is going to be the future, and it's the Grand Central for many, many reasons. This transit center will become a critical anchor for economic development and jobs. After the thousands of jobs that the construction workers will have, there'll be 27,000 permanent jobs attached to this Transbay Transit Center. Ongoing, sustained. And that's why this transit district plan was so important, and it got a unanimous adoption at the Board of Supervisors because of the way everybody presented the plan and the vision, united everyone around it with a vision of the 21st century downtown. You know, downtown has been a focus for us for quite some years. We wanted to really reinvigorate our economy, and we knew that this center would do so because of transportation. You're literally within blocks of 300,000 downtown jobs in San Francisco. That enhances those jobs and attracts even more. And look what's coming. 181 Fremont began demolition of the old building last week, 54 stories of office space, residential condo building. 350 Mission Street, a LEED certified building, already 100% leased by Salesforce. 535 Mission, another LEED 27-story building. 505 Howard Street, another block away, another LEED 10-story office building. And 222 2nd Street just broke ground last week, LEED certified with another 26 stories. These stories truly represent the future of our downtown. Buildings that are sustainable, they're mixed use, they're within minutes of shopping, jobs, restaurants, and in a few short years, the best public transportation center in the region. All of these new buildings and the transit center mean good paying jobs. The 27,000 jobs we already announced as a part of this, but also 6 million square feet of new office space, 4,500 new housing, 1,200 of which, 1,200 of those housing units are going to be permanently affordable because of the financing. And housing, affordable housing, has become just as important as transportation in our city. 100,000 square feet of new retail space, 1,000 new hotel rooms, and for all you open space enthusiasts, 11 new acres of parks, downtown open space. I said earlier, you know, the financing of this doesn't always get a lot of publicity because the finance people always are working within their confines, but no burden to the general fund means that more of our members of our board and the mayor can work together to get the social programs that we need and make sure that our funds are utilized to really get those quality life programs working in the city. I want to give, again, a special thanks to the men and women in the labor force, Mike Terrio and the construction trades, all of the different electrical workers union, the building trades are all here. Thank you for keeping this job center safe, inviting, and sustainable for everybody who wants to work in the city. Again, thank you to Leader Pelosi. Thank you to the entire federal delegation with Senator Feinstein, Senator Boxer. Certainly our Federal Transportation Administration is here today. Thank you again for working with us closely, not just on this, on Presidio, on the bus rapid transit systems, on the Central Subway. They're all going. The tunnel boring machines are already in. They're working their way through 100 feet at a time, and that's all going to be very complimentary. Also want to give a good shout out to Governor Jerry Brown and both leaders of the state houses, Steinberg and, of course, Perez, for their leadership. And then Supervisor Kim, thank you. The TJPA has been there from the beginning. We created that entity to make sure that we all work together. You're pulling all of the different transportation agencies, Ed Riskin's here as well, to make sure that we're not only getting this center done right and working with the TJPA, but we're going to meld it into the vision of high-speed rail, the end of a very important line. Again, the state of California is looking to San Francisco as well as the nation to get these models going. but we need to understand the history of where it all began. And when President Obama and Leader Pelosi said, we're going to recover in this economy, we've done it the right way. We'll always remember that. Thank you again, Leader Pelosi, for your leadership here, for all your support. This is a really good time to be in our city of San Francisco. And as many of you media people have always told me, be a little more concrete, Mayor Lee, where we're getting real concrete today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's so wonderful to see so much work happening in San Francisco. Now I have a great privilege to introduce a very important woman, not only to our project, but to our district and to San Francisco. In 2010, Jane Kim was elected to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, representing District 6, the home of the Transbay Transit Center and all of the exciting new development that's taking place for our wonderful new neighborhood. The TJPA board, recognizing Supervisor Kim's leadership and her caring for our project, immediately appointed her to the TJPA board of directors, and then she was also appointed to serve as chair on our board. Her leadership has been essential to the progress that we have made thus far. She's thoughtful, she's caring, she asks a lot of good questions, and she provides valuable input. Supervisor Kim has not only been a strong advocate for Transbay and the surrounding neighborhood, but also continues to provide crucial assistance on many other factors involving the neighborhood: pedestrian safety, bicycling safety, traffic safety, and many other things that involve the community. It is my great pleasure to introduce the chair of the TJPA Board of Directors and our District 6 Supervisor, Jane Kim.
In 2011, when I began my first year in office, Maria invited the mayor and I to come to this site where we're standing today for the ribbon cutting for the beginning of the construction for the site. In 2011, these sorts of ribbon cuttings were actually more of a rarity. This was the ray of sunshine in San Francisco that was providing jobs for men and women that had not worked for years. San Francisco was still at that time in the recession that many of us remember, but you almost barely remember it today. The mayor actually, when I first started, approached me in January to talk about how we can create more jobs here in San Francisco. And he mentioned a little-known company called Twitter and their interest in staying here in San Francisco. And we then began to work on my first piece of legislation in office, the mid-market tax exclusion. Since then, in the last year and a half, I get to see the mayor almost every week at different ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings, so you would think that I'd be more used to walking in heels on these construction sites. But Michael Terria, the president of Building Trades, has let me know that my shoes are not OSHA-proof and that I will have to re-examine my walking gear when I come to more of these, because we have many more here in District 6 and here in the south of Market and Mission Bay. Whether we're talking about the expansion of the SF MoMA, which happened just a month ago, the opening of the new public safety building in Mission Bay, to more recently the opening of the tunnel boring machine at Central Subway with director of the SFMTA, Ed Riskin. There is so much going on in the development here in the south of Market. And we are talking here about smart growth development. That means transit, that means high density residential commercial. It also means affordable housing, as the mayor had said. This is an incredible milestone, and I'm really pleased to be here with all of our leaders, including Leader Pelosi. This project is incredibly complicated, and it's also considered by many for years and years to have been just a dream. If not for the leadership of Maria Iardi Kaplan, who demanded and insisted that the city pay attention to this project, and of course to our leader Pelosi, who fights for us every day in Washington, D.C. to make sure that we are getting prioritized for a lot of this transit funding that is providing the jobs for the men and women that we see here today and permanent jobs in the future. This project would not be possible. The Transbay project is a national model for transit-oriented development. It will bring 11 different transportation systems under a single roof, all in close proximity to the jobs, housing, retail, recreation, and open space. This type of high-density development will not only foster the economic growth that I'd said, it will be the centerpiece of that economic growth and reduce congestion and greenhouse gas emissions. We are creating a walkable and bikeable community where residents and workers will have convenient access to rapid and safe public transit and a full range of neighborhood amenities. And I want to thank the residents of District 6. I want to acknowledge Bruce Ajid, who is here today. He is our representative of the neighborhood on the Transbay Citizens Advisory Committee. Our residents have been incredibly patient. They have invested in this neighborhood early, knowing that we don't have all the amenities in place yet, but they are working not just to invest, but also to advise the city government and making sure that this is a neighborhood that works for all of us and is the promise that we have made to them. This smart development was the city's goal when the Board of Supervisors enacted the Transit Center District Plan that both Maria and the mayor had mentioned last year, and that goal is already being achieved. The plan area right here in the center of South of Market will have currently 19 buildings in development, all the construction cranes that you see up around us. All those developments will have the 35% mandated affordable housing requirement, incredibly important for our working families and individuals here in the city. And we want to thank the former Senator John Burton as well for his leadership and advocacy for this project. We also want to thank a little-known resident of District 6, the former mayor, Willie Brown, for his incredible support as well in initiating this project too. It is the undeniable truth that Transbay has been a catalyst for social, environmental, and economic progress in the city, and I look forward to working with everyone here for the future success of this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Kim, Supervisor Kim, for those words. Our final speaker is one who has been integral in the coordination of the TJPA's Project Labor Agreement and a tireless advocate for the Transbay program from the very beginning. Mike Terriot has literally been at my side for the last 15 years, helping to make this project a reality, along with all of the other members of the labor community, the laborers, the carpenters, the operating engineers, electricians, everybody. Mike Terriot has been a member of the Iron Workers Union since 1985 and has represented his local in the San Francisco Labor Council as well as building trade councils in San Mateo, Marin, Sonoma Lake Mendocino, and Humboldt del Norte counties. Mike has been honored by his peers for his work and elected Executive Secretary Treasurer of the San Francisco Building and Construction Trades Council in 2005. And he's been with us, like I said, since the very beginning. I should add the Transbay project has a project labor agreement that has been used as a model by other projects for its success. All 28 union signatories signed on. And we've been able to, working with Mike, implement a very good program to mentor and intern our youth, both students ranging from ages 5 all the way through high school and college, teaching them about engineering and architecture and all of the various disciplines that go into a project like this. Mike, as well as all the unions, have been working with us as well with URS Obayashi, with the veterans groups. We've signed on to the First Lady's Joining Forces program and have been working very hard to attract veterans and to provide internship and job and mentorship opportunities to them. In fact, one of our very first contracts that we awarded for $9.5 million was to a disabled-owned veterans company, Anvil. So we're very proud of that fact. Without further ado, I'd like to have Mike come up and speak. Thank you.
You know, as Supervisor Kim pointed out, this project began in the depths of the recession when our union halls were cheek by jowl with workers out of work. And it put an awful lot of our folks back to work and really began to seed the recovery in San Francisco. And we certainly have Leader Pelosi to thank for that, and Mayor Lee and his predecessors, and Supervisor Kim and her predecessors on the Board of Supervisors, and many other members of the body politic. But we also have the workers who are down there to thank. And so I would like a round of applause for the women and men of the building trades whom I have the honor to represent. And, you know, in digging this hole, we have not just been going down into the ground. Maria talked a little bit about this bay mud and where it came from and how far back it came from. We've gone down through the strata of the city's history and of its prehistory. We've gone back through a time when Irish immigrants lived here. We've gone back through a time when a 49er left a gold nugget here that was later discovered. We've gone back through a time when ships moored here and bat rays and leopard sharks swam here. We've gone back to a Pleistocene when woolly mammoths grazed here, and one of them left a tooth, as some of you may recall, for our workers to find. As any major construction project in the city, you have to deal with its history in order to start going in the other direction. And that is what this pour today does. This pour today starts us in the other direction. Starts us back toward the present, where we stand, starts us toward the future. The future that you see beginning to sprout around you here now. The future that will bring high-speed rail here to make this a truly multimodal transit facility. A future that will include the affordable housing to which Mayor Lee has referred. A future that will include many, many jobs. We in the San Francisco building trades have been building this city for 117 years now. We count on that being just the first 117 years, and on this project being a part of starting us toward many more successions of 117 years to come. One other thing before I go. I have a little past here also. You see those wooden rope platforms up there? Those are called floats. I began my career as an iron worker, hanging floats off of high-rises for that very same company, Herrick. So there's a little of the past pointing toward the future in this project for me as well. With that, Leader Pelosi, I'd say let's pour some concrete and start ourselves toward the future.
Thank you, Mike. And now I would like to invite our speakers to either sign or put some gloves on and actually put their imprints in the concrete to preserve for history. After that,
Big for those.